Emily nearly froze when her gaze fell upon a tiny, trembling figure amid the pile of dry, rotten leaves beneath the old oak tree. A lion cub, its pale golden fur matted with blood and mud, so gaunt that its ribs were clearly visible. They curled up as if in a silent farewell to the world. Its faint, desperate whimpers, fragile and hopeless, echoed through the silent forest. Piercing her heart like a dagger, she knelt down, her trembling hand touching the cold body of the small creature. Its eyes opened slightly, cloudy, but with a final plea for help, as if clinging to life with its last bit of strength. Emily felt suffocated not from fear, but from the fragility of the life before her. But before acting, she paused, took a deep breath, and forced herself to carefully observe her surroundings. She stood up, slowly turning her head, her eyes scanning through every bush and tree canopy. The rustling of leaves under her feet reminded her of her presence in this wild world. Emily listened, hoping to hear the soft roar or footsteps of the mother lion, but only silence enveloped her. There were no signs of any large animal nearby, no footprints, no sounds, nothing. The lion cub seemed completely abandoned. After a moment of hesitation, Emily realized that if she didn't act, this life would have no chance. She quickly took off her jacket, wrapped it tightly around the lion cub, and held it close to her chest as if to transfer warmth and hope. "I won't leave you," she whispered, her voice trembling, knowing that this decision could completely change her life. Emily, a musician who lived through melodies, had come to the forest to find inspiration. She loved the tranquility of nature, where music often flowed naturally. But today, instead of notes, she found a dying life. Taking the lion cub home was crazy. It could disrupt her peaceful life, her days of composing, and nights of performing. But when she looked into its eyes, Emily couldn't turn away. She stood up, holding the small creature tightly, and walked away. Carrying with her the beginning of a new story, Emily named the lion cub Leo, a name she felt was perfect for its small but proud appearance. From the day she brought Leo home, her life was filled with new experiences. Every morning, she meticulously prepared food for Leo, small pieces of minced meat mixed with formula, which she had to order from a veterinary store dozens of kilometers away. Leo eagerly devoured each meal, his golden eyes lighting up every time she appeared with the familiar bowl. In the afternoons, when sunlight streamed through the window, Emily would play with Leo in the yard, throwing a small rubber ball for him to clumsily chase, his immature growls making her laugh. In the evenings, as she sat by her guitar, strumming gentle melodies, Leo would curl up at her feet, his ears twitching slightly to the rhythm. Sometimes he would fall asleep, his steady breathing blending with the music, as if the sound was part of his dream. Emily realized that Leo was not just a lion cub she had rescued, but a companion who awakened emotions in her that she had never known before. Then one evening, as darkness fell and the cold wind swept through the doorway, Emily heard a strange noise. Opening the door, she was stunned to see a brown wolf standing there, its eyes sharp but without a trace of aggression. In its mouth was a tiny wolf pup, its fur ruffled, its legs trembling as if about to collapse. The mother wolf gently placed the pup in front of Emily, then looked up at her with pleading eyes. Upon closer inspection, Emily suddenly recognized it. This was the wolf she had saved from a hunter's net 2 months ago, during a camping trip deep in the forest. Memories of that moment flooded back, the wolf trapped, its panicked eyes, and its calmness as she cut the ropes to set it free. Now, it had returned, bringing its precious offspring as a heartfelt plea for help. The wolf pup, weak but strangely adorable, immediately captured Emily's heart. She named it Luna, a name that evoked the image of the gentle moonlight in the night forest. But this decision was not easy. Taking care of Leo had already forced her to change her entire life, missing performances, staying up late to watch over him, and learning to understand the needs of a wild creature. Adding Luna to that life was an even greater challenge. Worried whether she had the strength and time to care for both, but when Luna snuggled into her arms, letting out soft whimpers, Emily knew she couldn't turn away. She decided to temporarily foster Luna, hoping that one day both would be strong enough to return to the wild. After leaving Luna, the mother wolf turned and slowly walked back into the darkness of the deep forest, as if she had completed an important mission. Emily stood there, holding Luna in her arms, feeling her heart beat stronger than ever. She knew that, despite the difficulties ahead, she would not let these two small beings be alone. 3 months passed since the day Emily held Luna in her arms. Watching the mother wolf disappear into the forest, the decision to care for both. Leo and Luna had completely transformed her life, but now it was an indispensable part of her world. Leo, once a clumsy cub, had grown larger, his golden fur beginning to show the majestic aura of a predator. Luna, from a frail wolf pup, had become agile, her eyes shining with intelligence and alertness. Under Emily's devoted care, both thrived like two blooming flowers in her small garden. Each day, Emily spent hours playing with them. Leo loved chasing the rubber balls she threw, his little legs bounding with energy, while Luna preferred to watch, sometimes joining in with a playful chase. As the evening sun set, Emily would sit with her guitar, strumming new melodies, letting Leo's soft growls and Luna's gentle howls blend with her music. She felt a deep connection with these two beings. They were not just animals she had rescued, but family, inspiring her to keep creating. But this happiness was not to last. One morning, as Emily was feeding Leo and Luna, there was a loud knock at the door. She opened it to find two men in ranger uniforms, their eyes cold. "We've received a report from a local resident," one said sternly. "You're illegally keeping wild animals. You must hand them over so we can release them into the forest." Emily's heart tightened. Hand over Leo and Luna? How could she abandon them after everything they had been through together? She remembered the sleepless nights caring for Luna when she was weak, the patient hours teaching Leo to eat. They were part of her, and the thought of losing them choked her. She hesitated, tears falling silently, almost agreeing because perhaps the wild was where they truly belonged. But then, as the rangers turned to leave, she overheard their conversation. "The lion cub will fetch a high price at the circus," one whispered, "and the wolf, a private zoo, is looking for rare specimens." Emily was stunned, as if doused with cold water. They weren't planning to release Leo and Luna, they were going to sell them. Anger surged within her. She rushed to the door, shouting, "I won't hand them over to you. Don't even think about touching them." The rangers turned back, surprised and threatening. "But you have no right to refuse," one said. "We'll return with a warrant." Then they left, leaving Emily holding Leo and Luna tightly, feeling betrayed. She vowed to herself, no matter what, she would protect them to the end. But she knew the rangers wouldn't give up easily. Those days that followed, Emily lived in anxiety. She reinforced the doors, added locks, and kept Leo and Luna close. But life couldn't stop. She had an important performance in the city, a big opportunity for her music career that she couldn't miss. After much deliberation, she decided to go, but only for a few hours. She locked the door carefully, believing Leo and Luna would be safe in their little home. The night of the performance arrived, and Emily took the stage with a heavy heart. She sang with all her emotion, but her mind was on Leo and Luna. When the show ended, she rushed home, a sense of dread rising within her. And when she arrived, the sight before her left her paralyzed. The door was smashed, furniture overturned, and Leo was gone. The cheerful little growls that once greeted her were replaced by a terrifying silence. Emily panicked, running through the house calling Leo's name, but there was no response. Then she remembered Luna. She dashed to the backyard, to the edge of the forest, and there, under a bush, she found Luna cowering, her eyes wide with fear. Her fur bristled as if she had just escaped a nightmare. Emily knelt down, embracing Luna, tears streaming down her face. "Luna, what happened? Where's Leo?" she whispered, but Luna only whimpered softly as if trying to comfort her. Emily realized that while she was away, the rangers had conspired with hunters, broken into the house, caged Leo, and taken him away. Luna, with her agility and cunning, had escaped into the forest. She stood up, wiping her tears, her hands clenched. "We'll find Leo," she said to Luna, her voice trembling, but determined. "I won't let them tear us apart." Emily stood silently in the empty house, her heart heavy as she thought of Leo, the lion cub she had cared for since he was a frail little being. Now Leo had been taken by hunters, and she couldn't bear the thought of him imprisoned in a strange place. Beside her, Luna the white wolf, with sharp blue eyes, paced back and forth, sniffing the air as if searching for her lost companion. Emily knelt down, placing her hand on Luna's head, and whispered, "We'll save Leo. I promise you." Luna looked up, her eyes reflecting a fierce determination. Emily began to formulate a plan. She recalled the dark green truck parked near her house before Leo disappeared. Surely it was a trace left by the hunters. It had just rained, and the tire tracks were still clearly imprinted on the dirt road leading into the forest. Without hesitation, Emily tied a rope around Luna's neck, and the two set off on their journey. They walked through familiar trails, but this time, each step was laden with anxiety and faint hope. After nearly 2 hours of trekking through the forest, they arrived at an unfamiliar area, a large, gloomy facility surrounded by towering iron fences. From inside, the moans and growls of animals echoed desperate sounds of captive creatures. Emily shuddered as she realized this was a place where wild animals were imprisoned and trained for circus acts. The facility resembled a prison, with iron cages stacked under dim yellow lights. Emily and Luna sneaked in through a narrow, forgotten gate, hiding behind large wooden crates to avoid the guards' watchful eyes. The guards patrolled with flashlights and iron rods, their faces cold and emotionless. Suddenly, a guard approached. The spot where Emily was hiding, her heart pounded. She held Luna tightly to keep her still, but Luna, driven by her wild instincts, couldn't hold back. She bared her teeth, growled fiercely, and suddenly lunged forward, biting hard into the guard's leg. He screamed in pain, swinging his rod wildly, but Luna was as quick as lightning. Drawing his attention away, Emily seized the opportunity. She rushed to another guard who had a bunch of keys hanging from his belt. After a struggle, she snatched the keys and ran to the row of iron cages, her hands trembling as she searched for Leo. Finally, she found him. Leo was curled up in a small cage, his golden eyes wide with fear mixed with hope as he saw her. "Leo," Emily whispered, inserting the key into the lock. The cage door sprang open, and Leo leaped out, immediately rubbing his head against her hand in gratitude. Luna ran over as well, and for a brief moment, the three friends were reunited. In the stifling space of the facility, it was no time to celebrate. Emily gripped the rope tightly, leading Leo and Luna out of there, running straight into the deep forest away from the house where the hunters might return to find them. But the escape was far from easy. The hunters' shouts and footsteps echoed. Through the trees, Emily, Leo, and Luna ran with all their might, adrenaline coursing through their veins. But the unfamiliar terrain of the deep forest slowed them down. The hunters, greater in number and armed, gradually closed the distance. A sudden gunshot rang out, the bullet grazing Emily's shoulder, leaving a burning sting. She clutched Leo and Luna tightly, pulling them behind a large rock, her breath coming in gasps. In that desperate moment, a long, piercing howl rose from deep within the forest. Emily looked up and saw a familiar figure, the brown wolf, Luna's mother, standing proudly on a hill, leading a large pack of wolves. The pack howled in unison, their cries echoing throughout the forest like a declaration of war against the intruders. Under the fiery red sunset, dozens of wolf eyes gleamed in the darkness, creating a scene both terrifying and magnificent. The hunters fired another shot, but the bullet went astray. The wolf pack, led by the mother wolf, began to advance, growling menacingly. The hunters, though fierce, couldn't hide their panic in the face of nature's overwhelming power. They gradually retreated, their shouts fading into the descending darkness. When the forest returned to silence, with only the wind rustling through the leaves, Emily collapsed beside Leo and Luna, exhausted but relieved. She hugged her two friends, tightly feeling their warm breaths mingling with hers under the starry sky. They were safe, at least for now. But Emily knew the future was still uncertain. The hunters could return at any time, and she wasn't sure she could protect Leo and Luna forever. But in this moment, as the three of them huddled together in the deep forest, Emily felt a simple happiness. They were reunited, and that was what mattered most. At dawn, the first rays of sunlight pierced through the canopy, shining down on where Emily sat beside Leo and Luna. After days of tense escape, she faced a major crossroads. Emily wrestled with her thoughts, considering seeking help from trustworthy rangers to protect her two friends. But fear still haunted her. Would Leo and Luna be caged again, falling into the hands of heartless people? She couldn't bear the thought. Her love for them surpassed everything, even the brilliant music career she had once dreamed of. After a long contemplation, Emily made a bold decision to move to a remote island where no one could harm them. She would give up her current life to give Leo and Luna freedom. This decision was not easy, but when she looked into their bright eyes, she knew she couldn't do otherwise. 2 weeks later, Emily, along with Leo and Luna, set foot on a small, secluded island in the middle of the ocean. She built a simple wooden house near the beach and started a new life. Over the next 2 years, the island became their paradise. Leo, with his majestic appearance, roamed the beach, chasing the waves and basking in the sun. Luna, agile and wild, explored the deep forest, hunting among the trees. Emily still composed music, but no longer on grand stages. Her melodies now carried the breath of the sea breeze and the free spirit of Leo and Luna. Though her career took a backseat, she found joy in the peace beside them. As time passed, Emily realized that the island, though safe, was not where Leo and Luna truly belonged. She noticed Leo often gazing into the distance, as if yearning for a larger space. Luna, though still affectionate, howled every night as if calling back to her wild instincts. Emily understood that her love couldn't bind them forever. After many long nights of inner struggle, she decided to set them free. A painful but necessary choice, Emily took Leo and Luna to a distant forest, untouched by humans. On the day of parting, she led them deep into the lush valley. Leo nuzzled her hand, as if to comfort her, while Luna let out a soft howl, full of reluctance. Emily knelt down, hugging them one last time, tears streaming down her face. "Go," she whispered, her voice choked. "Live as you were meant to." They hesitated, then slowly walked into the forest, their figures gradually disappearing among the trees. Emily stood there, her heart broken, but also relieved they were free, returning to her old life. Emily carried with her the scars and joys of that special bond. Her music now resonated with a deeper, wilder soul, forever shaped by Leo and Luna. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe to the Animal Kisa channel to explore more touching journeys about animals. Thank you for watching and joining us.